Robert Devereux was born at Netherwood, in Herefordshire, England, on November 10, 1565. Robert's father was Walter Devereux, the first Earl of Essex, and his mother was Lettice Knollys. Famously, his great-great-grandmother, on his mother's side, was Anne Boleyn's sister, Mary, making him a somewhat distant cousin of Queen Elizabeth I. When his mother became a widow, she married Robert Dudley. He himself would marry the widow of Sir Philip Sidney, Frances Walsingham, daughter of Sir Francis Walsingham. Together they would have several children, 3 of which survived to adulthood. Primarily Robert was raised on his father's estate in Staffordshire, Chartley Castle, where he was given the best of educations, as befitted his station as a nobleman's son. Later he would move to another of his father's estates, in Pembrokeshire, Wales, Trelamphy, where his education would continue. And finally he would move to Cambridge, to attend Trinity College. He would succeed his father in 1576, as the second, and new Earl of Essex, when his father died. Robert Devereux would begin his military career during the Dutch Revolt, serving under his stepfather, the Earl of Leicester. Later he would attend court in 1584, and make quite the impression on Elizabeth I. So much so, she gave her consent to his marriage to Francis Walsingham. Elizabeth would make him Master of the Horse in 1587, and by 1593, he would be made a member of her Privy Council. Having raised himself to becoming one of Elizabeth I's favourites, relatively quickly, he would unwittingly turn his own tides, and suffer the consequences, of being too familiar in the royal presence, of speaking his mind, and challenging the Queen's wishes. Failure in capturing Spanish treasure ships, and challenging Her Majesty on matters of appointments and strategy, he severely, and irrevocably, overstepped his bounds when he reacted to being cuffed by the Queen, by half drawing his sword on her. Having been sent to Ireland to settle the ever-increasing problems there, he nevertheless returned without the Queen's direct consent, and with very unsatisfactory results. This angered the Queen, and subsequently put her in an extremely undesirable position where Ireland was concerned. Heeding advice, Robert Devereux retired from public life, only to regroup, and try and force a meeting with the Queen, which ultimately failed. Ever becoming more of a problem for the Queen, Robert Devereux began to fortify his home, the town mansion, Essex House, and gathered his forces. Some of the men involved in this matter would later become involved in the Gunpowder Plot also. Unable to finish what he started, Robert returned to his home, but was proclaimed a traitor by Robert Cecil. Robert Devereux, 2nd Earl of Essex, would be found guilty on the charge of treason, and was executed by beheading, on February 25, 1601.